Hey guys, this is Brad from Dallas Geek, and I'm here today with...
Shane with Roxas Studios, or of Roxas Studios, I guess. It's weird talking about myself in the first person.
I mean, this is kind of your thing, so, you know, however you want to address yourself.
Well, it's funny, Fan Expo was like, do you want your name or do you want Roxas Studios? I'm like, I don't want people to know my name, it's fine. Like, they just call me Roxas Studios, so.
Fair enough. Yeah. So, if you guys have not seen his work online, you've severely missed out. This guy does some amazing cosplay photography.
I try.
And in fact, we are standing in a really cool new setup you have here for, exclusively for Fan Expo this weekend. You want to tell us a little bit about this and we'll go from there?
Yeah, totally. So, I mean, honestly, I wanted to do something different for Fan Expo. I've never actually seen an LED booth at a convention like this, and I got the inspiration from the League of Legends KDA music video where they have all these fluorescent tubes floating and stuff, and I did like an animation a while ago about it, and people really liked it, and I was like, man, it'd be really cool if I could like mimic that in a photography environment, and it's a lot harder than you'd imagine. So I wanted some like suspended and hanging and stuff, and it was just not really feasible. This booth was actually about 3 times as large, and I built it in my living room, and I slowly chopped it down to fit into like kind of this mold and stuff. So it's been a project, but a fun one. And people seem to like it so far, so we'll see. But yeah.
I mean, it is a very unique aesthetic.
Yeah, definitely. It's kind of like the arcade look. I have like 60 LEDs in here. They're all really low wattage. It's just white light. I wish I had some like color variation.
Sure.
But I can do that in post if I really want to. So, and then I built like a hardwood floor, and I know you probably can't see it, but that's okay. But I have a little couch in here as well. We kind of like varied up, so it's not just stand on the backdrop and take a photo. So, you know, and I think people really kind of like connect with that, and they get really excited about it because it's not just, you know, a normal photo. So
sure. Obviously, with cosplay photography, you have really 2 main types of photography. You got the event style that's just, you know, hey, can I get your picture?
Yep.
And then you have the other kind that's what you specialize in, where you actually have the studio or mobile studio thing, where you have everything kind of planned out and it all comes out really cool. All the special effects, all the behind the scenes magic.
Yep.
How exactly did you get into this?
So I do animation and visual effects for a living. I work mostly commercial work. I worked at like Rooster Teeth doing post-production on their latest show, Genlock. I worked at Real Effects doing commercials, a lot of local places here in Dallas. And now I'm actually the head of animation for PepsiCo Frito-Lay, doing most of their commercials, social media, stuff like that. So
nice.
I've always kind of had a knack for animation and that kind of stuff. And photography started like 3 years ago, I guess, when I was doing I do a lot of 3D stuff. So I didn't know what actual cameras did, but I knew what 3D cameras could do. Sure. And you can do all kinds of crazy stuff. And to get more realistic renders and looks, I talked to our director of photography at the time, and she's like, well, just come out and shoot with me and I'll show you the ropes. And it was Acon like 3 years ago.
Okay.
And ever since then, like people really liked my photos even then, and I was like, oh, I guess I'm kind of okay at this. And you know, my skills from previous stuff like video and things like that transferred over really well to cosplay photography. So it was just a niche thing that then kind of stuck, and now it's grown pretty vastly, I guess. So.
I mean, you do seem to have a bit of a following online, you know, a little bit.
Well, compared to some of these other people, not quite that much. But for a photographer, yeah. Probably.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, in terms of quality, I mean, I could be biased, but I put you right up there around the same caliber as like Martin Wong.
Oh yeah, cool.
I mean, awesome stuff.
Yeah, and he's been doing it for a long time too. So he's built up a following over, I mean, at least a decade, I'm assuming. So, and he travels a ton. But I mean, honestly, I look for him for inspiration, and a lot of other, like David Love is another visual effects photographer. I think he's in California or Florida, and he does crazy visual effects stuff. And I think he kind of does something similar where he does cons and panels. Like Sunday, I have a panel on visual effects editing and stuff here at the con. But yeah, it's a good feeling when people enjoy my work, and that's why I do it. Like, I do charge a little bit, but it's more just to make sure I'm on task and that I get your stuff back on time.
Sure.
Because I do shoot a lot, and if I shoot for free, then I just tend to get swamped and overrun, and then I have a lot of people like chomping at the bits to get stuff. So
totally get it.
But yeah, but it's a good feeling when people are like, "Hey, do you have my photos?" I'm like, not yet. Almost a little longer.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like you're busy or anything.
I know, right? Yeah. Well, and that's a good thing about this setup. Like, if I have the lighting and everything done, and I have the, you know, everything kind of calibrated how I want, the post is actually not as hard as full visual effects and stuff. It's just color correction, cleaning up your face, adding some blurs and lights and stuff, and then boom, you got a good photo. So, and that's kind of what I'm going for. So people get a good photo. It's not overly visual effects heavy, but it still looks good and it's different than something normal. So that's kind of what I was going for. Anyways.
Nice. And speaking of the post-production, you said you do have a panel later. When is it going to be?
So Sunday at 3:30, and it's I think C131, but I'll have to double check on that to make sure. But yeah, it's at 3:30. I think it's an hour long, and I just take one of my visual effects photos and I break it down and show people the process and talk about where I shot it and how I did it and things like that. Because actually, a lot of my photography that I add visual effects to is actually on the fly. Like I have a really cool scorpion one that people love, and it was shot out in Adacon, just out on the fly. And I was like, this would be really cool if I could add fireballs and other crazy stuff. And then people really connected with that one, and it's one of my most favorite, I guess, edits.
So how much of your work do you actually do composite versus just generally enhancing what's already there?
It depends on the look and feel that I'm going for. In the situation of Scorpion, I knew I wanted to go super heavy on the visual effects. On other cases, I'll actually ask the cosplayer, hey, is this to show off what you've done, or you just want some cool photos? Because a lot of times, I've patched holes, I've fixed seams, if something's supposed to be a different color, my LED's not working. I want to fix all that so then it looks good. Otherwise, sometimes it could take away, and I don't want to take away. And I don't want my visual effects to take away from the overall photo either. If someone's like, oh, that looks cheap or weird or whatever, fake lightning and stuff like that, unless it actually looks integrated, I don't want to do it. Sure. But then I also just make sure that they're what they want, because I've done just headshots and just normal stuff. I just really want to showcase this photo or this cosplay because I'm brand new and I love it. And then later on we'll do another shoot that's more visual effects heavy. Yeah. So it really just depends.
Right. Other than just straight cosplay photography with whatever costume happens to come along for you to shoot, I have seen that you do seem to have certain series that you've done, whether that's just certain aesthetic themes that you go across, everything from a specific convention or specifically recently your Greek goddess thing that you started up. Yeah. So do you have any series that you're doing now that people can look forward to seeing new installments of?
So the Greek goddess thing I'm actually still working on. I have a couple more people that want to shoot with that because there's a ton of Greek goddesses, and I think I've done 2 so far. And that's more of a process. That came from, a cosplayer comes to me and says, hey, we have a group of people thinking about doing this. Would you want to do a series of it? Or if I have a unique idea, I'll actually reach out to people and say, hey, do you want to collaborate and do this series? And usually people are like, yeah, let's do it, because why not? I think the goddess one is probably my most recent. Coming up next, I'm going to do blacklight and UV paint, which I might actually use this setup for and swap everything out for UV bulbs. Okay. And so I have a body kit airbrush thing that I've been playing around with and trying to do more face paint and body paint and just exploring stuff. Because again, I do this for fun. I enjoy it. So I want to try something new every time. So. And
of course, with the Dallas cosplay community specifically being a very tight-knit group, even as it continues to grow, it does help that it does seem like you have a specific group of cosplayers that keep coming back to you that you're able to work with and get comfortable with for all different kinds of things in the future. Has being able to have the same models coming back to you to be able to work with time and time again helped with being able to do more experimenting with what you're doing?
Oh yeah, 100%. Once you get more comfortable with somebody shooting either as a photographer or as a model, then you're more willing to try different creative things. I love shooting with new models and new cosplayers, but if they don't know how to model or, I don't mind teaching. I've taught a lot of people posing, technique, it's a whole thing. And it just makes my job easier because I don't have to do so much post-production work, and also guarantees I'm going to get a bunch of good photos instead of maybe 1 out of 10. So it just increases my odds. Good photographer, good model, works out really well for everybody. And then if I do want to experiment with something new, and I will try and involve new people if I can, and I just prep for that, knowing hey, this might take a little bit longer, or the production might be a little bit harder because I'm having to deal with certain angles and body types and stuff. And I've always been one to shoot with any age, shape, size. Well, not any age, you know what I mean? Sure. Legal, adult, stuff like that. Actually, no, that's not true. I've shot with Maddie, who's a little girl. Yeah. She came and did a whole Black Widow shoot with me, so I shoot all ages. As long as it's PG and appropriate, and parents are there on site. Yes. Always bring a friend to photo shoots. By the way, photographer says don't, then don't shoot with him. There's a whole 101 on that stuff. Yeah. But yeah, no, it just makes things a lot easier and it's a lot more fun, and it just smooths out the process. So, and also it's good for when new people do want to shoot with you. I have a whole crew of people that will vouch for me. Not only is his work good, but I've worked with him personally, and I know that he's not a weirdo or a creep or just trying to get creepy photos or whatever the whole trend seems to be nowadays. Yeah. So I don't want to get on that one. But yeah, and I stay away from that. I like anything artistic is what I kind of go for. So that's the plan.
Obviously, with cosplayers, popping up all the time, everybody wants to get into it because it is a fun thing to do. Yeah. Do you have any advice for cosplayers that are wanting to be able to work with photographers that just have never really had a chance to do that yet? Do you have any advice to help get them into it and ease them in?
Yeah, totally. Just go in with a concept or have an idea. It makes the photographer's life a lot easier instead of hey, let's just shoot. Okay, well, what time, location, idea, concept, that kind of stuff. Because I get hit up all the time, like, hey, we should do a shoot together. It's like, yeah, we totally should. And then it goes nowhere. So, and that's either because I'm busy or they get busy. But like, if you're serious about wanting to shoot, have an idea, have stuff already ready. Be like, hey, I want to shoot this. I love your work. Let's do it. Etc. And then it just smooths it out a lot easier. And then it's guaranteed that you guys are going to do it a lot faster. So that's kind of my 2 cents.
If a cosplayer came to you and said, I saw this really cool photo, I'd like to do something similar to it, that would be the kind of thing that would be helpful.
Yeah, so inspiration, like Pinterest boards, hey, I have so-and-so cosplay, I saw this one photo, it's great inspiration, can we do a look like this or something similar? Because I don't like outright just copying other people's work, but like if it's blacklight or LED, I saw this really cool arcade shoot. There's 18 million different ways to do an arcade shoot, but still have that same vibe and feel. But like, hey, I have a diva outfit and I want to do it in an arcade. Do you live close to Grapevine Mills Mall? Yeah, totally. When are you free? Let's meet up. Maybe we get a couple other people, make it worthwhile, that kind of thing. And it pushes it in a direction of like, yeah, we should just shoot sometime. And it's like, yeah.
Of course, if people want to be able to come out and find your work, where can they find you?
Instagram is probably the best. Roxas Studios. Facebook, I have a Roxas Studios page. It's probably Roxas_Studios. If you don't know who Roxas is, I don't know if you can see that guy. But it's from Kingdom Hearts. So my son's name is Roxas. My studio name is Roxas. Obviously, I'm a little obsessed with Kingdom Hearts. But yeah, so but anything Roxas Studios has my mark on it, and it's a square, and yeah, my name. Look at stuff. But yeah, I have a website, but don't go to it. It's under construction. It was like a blog thing for a while, and so. But yeah, anyways.
Any video?
I have my demo reel and stuff, but that's more for work. And so my Instagram has like any of the video clips and stuff that I do, or the specific cosplayers that I shot with, they'll have their links either on, I do have a YouTube, but it's a work in progress. So,
that's fair.
But yeah, but that's hopefully a plan later on to do more video work too. So, but yeah.
Well, guys, seriously, go check his stuff out. You need to follow him. He's amazing. You'll love his work. We do. And Shane, thank you so much for talking to us.
Thanks, guys.
Until next time, this is Brad from Dallas Geek saying, see ya.